Boom, baby, we're back. Welcome, everybody, to Moonlighting Montana. Sorry for the small delay. Had a busy weekend this last weekend. Typically like to get these out Sunday, Monday, but it was my son's birthday. And I was really caught up and busy. Doesn't mean I didn't check in on high school football, because I absolutely did. Exciting week to see week 2. I think you really get a grasp on what these teams are kind of getting through and what they are achieving. Had great intel from coaches kind of around the state that I've talked to about what happened in certain games. Would love to have some of them on shortly. But yeah, without any further ado, it's really not... You're not here to hear me ramble about what I think's going on, right? You just want to hear scores. You want to hear them coming in hot. And I think they did. And those football teams that are out there watching this, I want you to think about this. First of all, put your scores on 406 Sports so that I can see them in score stream. Let's just shout out to Mike Speck, who ended up giving me the score, but I couldn't find your score, brother. Get it on there. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's 406's fault. But yeah, I think we're really kicking off the season well. A couple of teams that had to get used to a new division that they were playing in. My East Helena Vigilantes are one, and you're going to hear me rant and rave about them. But without any further ado, let's kind of just get into this, right? So, Fromberg takes on Tri-City Titans. They lose 52-6. Freud Medicine Lake. Freud's been just whooping up on teams. Maybe there's something that I don't know. I know they've been athletic in the past. I don't know how solid their football teams is. It seemed like they're pretty solid this year. But yeah, keep an eye out on them in the Class C division. Plentywood 26, Webo 20. Stanford Geyser Denton Co-op, the biggest name in the state, versus Valier, 39-15. Mondak beats Plevna. Great. We care about Mondak now in Montana. Whatever. Power Dutton Brady puts an absolute stun on the Box Elder Bears, scoring dang near in the NCAA basketball range with 88 points. They come out and put the beat down on the Box Elder Bears. Box Elder Bears will have their number come basketball season, though. Promise you that. Centerville beats Broadview Levita 53-7. Savage beats Bridger 47-0. And the one I told you I was going to rant and rave about, the one I told you I was going to come and talk to you guys about, because I watched it, I was excited, I was elated, I almost had an out-of-body experience seeing the score for the first time. The East Helena Vigilantes came out and they got a legit victory against a decent football team. No more East Helena Vigilantes of the past. They come out and they just have to beat the team that's the worst in the league that year, and that's their one win and they'll live on it. No. They beat the Hardin Bulldogs 34-28, and they are 500, folks. 500. Good for the East Helena Vigilantes, good for the school, and good for the town of Helena. I don't know if Helena High thinks that or Helena Capital, but good for East Helena, and I'm glad I got to see them win. They played awesome. They had a lot of chances to not do so well in this, right? They had a lot of big plays that went against them. There was a catch that went for about 40, 50 yards early on in the game, and it ended up, you couldn't see it on camera, but I'm assuming it was a fumble of some sort that really hurt him. It would have been out in the red zone almost. And then there was just a broken play where the coverage was mixed up and the guy got free and went for a 60-yard touchdown for Hardin. But they overcame, people. There's just, that is the true test of a winning team. Not only can you win, but can you overcome? And they overcame. And these Helena Vigilantes are on the up and up. So those of you watching from your ivory towers, just be ready, because they're coming. We're coming. Clearly, I have no biases there. Ritchie, 49, Terry, 0. Huntley Project, 38. Glasgow, 6. Red Lodge, 51. Malta, 12. Knoxon, 38. Twin Bridges, 6. Ekalaka, 54. Park City, 42. Sweetgrass County, the Sheep Herders, 26. Roundup, 8. Big Fork is undefeated, and I'm pretty sure they've won every game by 30 so far, beating Polson in the first week, and now Ronan. So I guess the disparity between Class A and Class B is different than we thought, because usually when a team makes that jump, there's a definite growing period, a time where you kind of allow teams to take hard losses and not give them, not put too much pressure on them to win. But I guess Big Fork didn't get the memo, because Big Fork came out and is just stomping teams to the A division. So keep an eye on them, which is shocking for me to even say. Sweetgrass County 26, Roundup 8, Manhattan 6, Loyola 0. Those are two very solid teams right there. As we know, Loyola kind of steps up, like they did last year. I think Manhattan's pretty solid always. Kind of an interesting score line there. How low scoring, so they must have some defense playing over there. CMR 36, Big Sky 21, Gallatin another win, 28, Sentinel 13. Gallatin looking pretty solid so far. Keep your eye out on Quinn Clark. He's a 6'6" wide receiver, signed with Nebraska, plays for Gallatin. One of the best athletes I've physically seen in high school sports in Montana. So keep your eye out for him if you're watching Gallatin Raptors play. Lockwood 13, Sydney 6. Columbia Falls 49, Browning 0. Hamilton 57, Butte Central Maroons 18. Shelby 54, Harlem 28. Libby 35, Polson 26. Shoto 20, Flint Creek 6. I think Flint Creek's down this year, and it's about time. They ran over so many teams for so long that being from that division, it doesn't. I don't ever like to say that I like to see athletes lose, but it doesn't pain me too much to not see Flint Creek win, right? Bozeman 39, Butte 15 again. I think that's where the strength is in the Class AA. Bozeman and Gallatin, kind of Eastern. I guess you could say Eastern. They used to be Central Montana when those divisions existed, but now we'll call it East. I think that's the strength in the East right there, is in the Gallatin Valley. Huntley Project, that was already read. Lincoln, so Eureka 32, Whitefish 6. That's a class jump there. Three Forks 32, Shepherd 6. Great Falls 42, Hellgate 0. Fergus 21, Laurel 0. Fergus still looking on top. They haven't lost since 2020, so just keep the train rolling, I suppose. Conrad 49, Anaconda 18. Glacier 49, Billings Senior 7. Now this is the intel that I got, folks. I hear the Glacier Wolfpack are pretty darn legit. The coaches who I talk about Billing or about Bozeman and Gallatin are telling me, hey, don't look at Bozeman and Gallatin. You need to have your eyes fixated on Glacier. And I think that's probably true. They put the smackdown on Billings Senior in a Class AA bout. First of all, that's a very far game to play for whoever had to travel in that game. But wow, I think Glacier's solid again, and that's what they kind of say, right? Glacier kind of has a couple down years, a couple really solid years, a couple down years. But we'll see about the Glacier Wolfpack. We'll see how good they are. Florence Carlton keeps the winning motto in check. 47, they whoop up on the Townsend Broadwater Bulldogs, 47-0. Baker beats Wolf Point 12-7. Columbus 59, Colstrip 0. Jefferson 36, Cupping 0. Glendive 26, Miles City 12. I think Glendive's a little more solid than people are giving them credit for. Barely lost to Billings Century, who I thought was a really solid team. Maybe that's where I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, but I don't like to admit it. Fairfield 25, Whitehall 37. Forsyth 22, Broadus 8. The Dowgies coming out on top. Superior 58, Plains 8. Chester 46, North Star 27. Circle, another basketball score, y'all. They must have been shooting three-pointers there. 76, Culbertson 32. It's sometimes how 8-man, I believe they're 8-man. Football works, though. It's kind of a track meet. Dillon beats Stevensville 44-0. Helena High comes out on top 21-14 against Billings West Bears. Manu Mello with a huge punt return in this game. Don't kick to the man. Golly, punter, you got one job. I'd rather you throw an interception than kick to Manu Mello. Don't do it. That's a risky move, man. He'll take it to the yard. Fairview 49, Scobie 6, Shields Valley 54, Highwood 28, Manhattan Christian 52, Cascade 14, Sealy Swan 66, Powell 14, Corvallis 41, Frenchtown 6. What are happening to the Bronx up there, Coach Warren? I know you texted me. I don't know what's going on with your Bronx. I thought they were going to be solid. Corvallis is a solid team. They got track and field superstars there. Won track and field state last year, both girls and boys. So they have the athletes. You never know with Corvallis. You know you're going to be playing fast, strong kids, but the Jessups take this one. Flathead beats Belgrade 17-14. Poor Panthers. That's all I can say. Arlee 40, Charlotte 8. Joliet 18, Thompson Falls 13, Three Forks 32, Shepherd 6, St. Ignatius 50, Troy 13, Custer 50, Burlington, Wyoming. That's the first time I've seen them on this list. 24. We're playing teams in Wyoming now. Havre 3, Billings Central 24. There we go, Rams. They are who we thought they were. Sort of game there. I think that the first game kind of was an outlier. I'm just going to say it how it is. I didn't get to watch the game specifically. Maybe that's something I ought to do. But they are who we thought they were, folks. They came out and whooped up on the Blue Ponies and held them to 3. Capital 35, Skyview 10, Valley Christian 64, Darby 8. I think Valley Christian's a lot better than people think. They're a relatively new team. They didn't have football for a lot of years. And being that they're right in the middle of the Missoula area, it doesn't make sense that they wouldn't have good football players, right? You got Loyola, who's a solid football team, Sentinel, who's a solid football team, and then you got Big Sky and Hellgate, who are both schools that play football. So I think that you're going to have athletes that come out and play for the Valley Christian Eagles and are decent. It just takes time, but they only took a year. So I haven't gotten the victor score yet. Obviously, you guys know I like to check in on the Pirates every now and again, but I did get the Ennis score, which is not posted on here. Ennis beat Lone Peak. I want to say it was 54-22 is what Mike texted me, or Coach Speck. No surprise there. I think that everyone knew Ennis was going to come out and beat Lone Peak. I do think Lone Peak's better than people think, but Ennis Mustangs are legit, folks. The only problem for them, and we had this conversation, I talked to them about it, is when you're supposed to be good, it's a lot harder to be good. And when people sleep on you a little bit, that's when you can come out and are able to perform, because nobody expects you to do anything. You don't have anything to lose. When you are a favorite in sorts, because they lost very few people, and they obviously made a deep run in the postseason and beat a lot of teams last year, I think that when you have that pressure on you to be really solid and really good, sometimes it's really hard to overcome. Teams do it all the time, though. Belt did it last year. A lot of teams do it. So it's going to take a lot, I think, but it wouldn't be the worst thing, I don't think, too, for if the Mustangs came out and lost a regular season game, I would not be rethinking anything that I'm saying about them, because realistically, sometimes it's a good thing, and maybe they go undefeated and teams do that like Fergus, but I just would like to relay to some of these teams out there that are expecting to be good. Listen, just because you're expected to be good doesn't mean you are perfect. And not being perfect sometimes is exactly what you need at the right time. So we'll see as the Ennis Mustangs go. They are a very solid team. Obviously, best coaches in the state. And they're going to go very, very far this season. I would love to see my buddy wearing a ring on his other finger. But yeah, that's the scores this week, folks. We played these first 2 games, and you see not a ton of division games, but you're going to start seeing these division games. Now is kind of where the crunch time, where the rubber meets the road, and teams are going to have to start winning some of these big division games, and start proving what they're worth in their division so that they can make those late season runs. Because at the end of the day, you could be, if the East is way better than the West and you're the 5th best team out of the East, then, I mean, you still have to make it through that gauntlet to be able to make a run. And so teams are going to have to start performing in their division these coming weeks, and proving what they're worth. But it's interesting to see some of these games, and I'm glad to say, again, if you didn't hear me before, but the Vigilante's coming out on top. I just had to make sure that you guys heard that and understood it. But that's going to be all, folks. Just a quick recap of the games, of the scores. Tune in next week as we continue and start getting into the really nitty-gritty part of this season. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. Thank you for listening and trying to get, I think next week will be our interview week if I can set it up. I don't always feel like I have time. Next week should be better. But I don't need to talk about it anymore. Just be expecting it. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Moonlighting Montana.